Yes. I just got back from Mandalorian and Grogu, and that was a movie. That's a movie that I have seen in the past week. To be honest with you, that film could have been an email. You might have seen the discourse surrounding this movie is mixed. Some people love it, some people hate it. Some people are just in between and don't actually care about Star Wars anymore. Yeah, this guy, that's where I'm getting to. I get why people like Mandalorian and Grogu, but I think it's the exact same reasons as why people hate it. A lot of people on the other side are suggesting it's the end of Star Wars, suggesting that after releasing 10 billion TV shows, the franchise is starting to lose some creative steam. I feel nothing about the Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't care about it, and if anything, that is worse than hating it. At least I felt strongly about the sequel trilogy. I didn't like them, and I had reasons to not like them. I feel so disattached from the franchise at the moment. This is the only time I've ever watched a Star Wars film and thought, yeah, I'm never gonna watch that again. The biggest problem in the film is the narrative, and it's hard to categorize it as necessarily good or bad. It's just boring. I'm gonna get into a little bit of spoilers, not major ones, but like if you want to see the movie, go watch it first. This is just minor spoilers. Grogu dies. I'm only kidding. I wish he did though, as we could only be so lucky. So the film The Mandalorian and Grogu surprisingly follows the Mandalorian and Grogu as they encounter on their next journey. So they now work for the New Republic and they collect bounties but only on Imperials. They've kind of got a good guy arc now, but you will have had to see the TV show to know that, which is a big problem with the film, but I'll get into that. So in order to get this new target, General Coin, who sounds a lot cooler than he actually is, it's just a random looking bald guy. I mean, why is Star Wars allergic to using aliens in their alien space show? There was a scene in the film where they're in a gladiator battle and everybody in the crowd is a human. Remember when Star Wars used to be full of glupto shittos and they used to just like be piping around everywhere? There'd be little aliens and you'd be like, how did someone think about that? That's gone now. And then when they do try to do aliens, it's just the worst prosthetics you've ever seen, just glued onto someone's face. So in order to get to this Baldy, they have to work with the Hutt crime lords in order to get their little nephew back, who is actually Rotter the Hutt. Now if you've seen the Clone Wars, you might remember this guy as the baby Jabba the Hutt, who actually is Jabba the Hutt's baby this time. I've seen a bit of the Clone Wars, I've not seen it all. I can't name what clone dies in season 6 episode 5 in the 20th frame, so that does mean that I'm a fake fan when it comes to Star Wars fans. You've got to understand there's a hierarchy here. So on this planet we find out that Rotter the Hutt has actually been Luxmaxing and is now buff. He kind of looks like in Fortnite when Peter Griffin got buff. It just doesn't look right. Now the funny thing about Rotter in this film is that he's played by Jeremy Allen White. Now when this got announced I thought that's odd. That's an odd decision to make. They're going to get Jeremy Allen White, they're going to pay him a lot of money to voice this minor character who doesn't even speak English. They have their own language, Huttese. Rotter the Hutt now speaks with a Brooklyn accent. That's right, Rotter was a New Yorker this whole time. I don't know how we didn't see it coming. From this point on, it's then everything you can predict that's going to happen that happens. There's not really much I can spoil here because there's not really much that happens. This whole film felt like a filler arc in a season of The Mandalorian, and not even necessarily a good one at that. Like, I understand they were working with nothing here because they've obviously pre-established everything in the show. Like, everything cool that could have happened to The Mandalorian has happened. You've had the whole Mandalorian's arc, you've had the whole Darksaber stuff, but if you've got nothing to say, what was the point in making the movie? Money! They do it for money. Yeah. What are you doing out there? Oh, it's okay, I'm just out here. Okay. You know. And people are happy with it not being terribly bad, being serviceable. It didn't feel like a film, it felt like content. Star Wars used to be the thing that people went to go see and it would inspire filmmakers. You'd think, how have they done that? How have they made that? They were told to make a Mandalorian film. They weren't doing it out of any inspiration. They knew that Grogu and Mandalorian was the most successful thing in years and they thought, hey, if we make a movie out of this, that could make a lot of money. That's all the thought process was there. I kept waiting for something to happen in this film, like a big threat to reveal itself, or there was something in the background that was going to happen. I know Disney Star Wars doesn't have the best experience with subverting expectations, but give me a little something, you know? Like if Grogu was a little psychopath and like turned to the dark side or something. Or better yet, if he died. Stop saying you want Baby Yoda to die. Why do you say such things? Can you leave? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I liked Baby Yoda at the time. I thought he was cute. But I also think he represents everything that's kind of wrong with Star Wars at the moment. They had this one thing that made a lot of money. That was very cute. And they've stuck to that, like their Warburtons discovering sliced bread. They just made it their whole thing. But having nothing but this for 7 years, you just have this cutesy little Disneyfied little thing. And them trying to do the little, oh, look at little Baby Yoda playing with the controls. He's so silly, he doesn't know what he's doing. Gimmick in 2026. Is mind-numbing. Don't get me wrong, I like fun. I've had fun before, but in moderation. I think it shows the lack of respect they have for the fans and the franchise. They think they're all dumb. That's a problem I have with the film as well. They repeat everything, and everything is explicitly explained. Jabba the Hutt explains his motivations for why he wants to be better than Jabba the Hutt about 50 times in the whole film. You cannot forget it, because they think the audience is too dumb. They think the audience doesn't have the attention span to actually remember that. There's one time at the start of the film where the Mandalorian jumps into an AT-AT, and he's looking in the front and sees no one's driving it, and then he goes out loud, "Autopilot." Who would do that? When would someone just stop and say out loud what's happening? Everyone can see it's driving itself. We know it's autopilot. Why do you need to explicitly spell it out? The best thing about Star Wars was the character development. You see Luke's character development from this farmer boy into this Jedi warrior. Han Solo goes from this dirty scoundrel guy to this hero. Those are the best parts. Anakin going to the dark side. The character developments are what make it. Obi-Wan going from this young Padawan into this master. But this film, there is no character development purely because all of the character development has happened in 3 seasons of TV, and there is nothing left to show. They've done every single arc possible for these, where there's no room for growth. So all you see in this film is Din Djarin just smashing through everyone, because he's the most powerful being in the galaxy now, because he never does anything wrong. There's no struggle, there's no difficulty, there's not really much conflict. I'm sick of the Force being used as an excuse for lazy writing. Like, every time a character gets hurt now, you know exactly what's gonna happen. Force healing, baby. And it just ruins the stakes completely, because now you can revive people like it's Fortnite, just hovering your hand over them. I just think it's such wasted potential. Disney play the franchise so safe now. They knew it would make money, but they didn't want to take risks. And that's terrifying. But following these perfect characters that are just doing post-game side quests, it is not interesting enough to make a movie. It's on track to be one of the worst performing Star Wars movies of all time. If this is what audiences can expect from the franchise going forward, I have very little hope. Star Wars is in a difficult spot right now. It kind of has been for a long time now, but I feel like now it's looking very bleak. I know there's been revisionism in recent years of how some of them are good, as how you have to get to know Rian Johnson, what Rian Johnson was trying to do, because the Casino Planet's actually a really good scene. But nothing can convince me that those films were a success. And then ever since 2020, kind of like Marvel, they've heavily invested in the Disney Plus aspect of things. Most of the shows are just slop, bar a few exceptions. But why it's so annoying to fans is Star Wars has the best potential of any franchise out there to tell interesting, creative stories. Everybody when they're 5 thinks of a good Star Wars story. There's so much lore in this universe, it feels like its own. So much media you can absorb, there's so much people know about this, and Disney seems to add nothing to it and simply take away. But I think the problem lies with the lack of direction, and all you have to do to see that is if you look at how many cancelled shows, how many cancelled films, how many cancelled trilogies, how many cancelled games since Disney originally took over. And they seem to just be latching on to what works and using it as a life raft to get to the next thing. Hence why they have milked Mandalorian and Grogu until there is nothing left. I think Kathleen Kennedy going is a good move, and Dave Filoni does care about the franchise, albeit it did seem a bit odd when he was self-inserting himself in the new film so much. Why are they terrified of lightsabers? They are without a doubt the most recognizable thing from the Star Wars universe, and yet Disney doesn't use them, and when they do, they look like glow sticks you'd get from a school disco. And they've been nerfed so much they're about as powerful as glow sticks from a school disco. If you get stabbed by a lightsaber now, that's a minor flesh wound. You're fine. You just need a paracetamol and to shake it off. Everything in Star Wars just feels bland now. You know what to expect. You know what's gonna happen. Star Wars used to be an event. It used to be a cultural phenomenon. As a kid, I used to be so excited with everything new that came out from Star Wars. Your imagination went wild, thinking about everything that could happen, all the stories that could be told. And for this to be where it is headed, Star Wars has always been for kids, don't get me wrong. But the tone that Disney is going for now is a childish tone. But the most successful projects under Disney have been the ones that have challenging elements. And one of the best things that has come from Star Wars full stop is a political espionage thriller. It's so different from what everyone's come to expect with Star Wars that it's why everyone loves it. Even when I was a kid, the things I enjoyed about Star Wars weren't necessarily the kid things. Fair enough, Jar Jar Binks was the funniest guy to ever exist when I was 4 years old. And I loved Ewoks as much as the next guy until Ewok Hunt. Ewok cunt. But as a kid, I was interested in this soap opera between characters, and the world was built by having these mature themes and elements in it. Things I didn't even understand. Do you think I knew half of what was happening in 1, 2, and 3? With the political aspect of stuff, I didn't know what a Senate meant until last week. But as a kid, you know you don't understand this, and that's cool. That's what's interesting about it. I didn't understand half the things that were happening in the real world, but the things I did understand within it made it so much more mysterious, made it so much more intriguing, and that's why it's got so much longevity in it. It appeals to all generations. The political system in the Star Wars universe since Disney has took over has become as in-depth as a game of chess. It's black and it's white, and that's all there is to it. The best thing I believe to come out of the Star Wars universe recently is the Jedi Survivor games. I think everyone who's played them can agree, they capture Star Wars perfectly. But that's because they're not afraid to explore what makes the franchise good. They're not afraid to explore that emotion between characters. And what's annoying about this is Star Wars was kind of heading in a more gritty kind of direction before Disney took over. Obviously, I know a lot of people didn't like this direction at the time. People wanted that kid adventurous friendly feeling that was in the 70s and the 80s films. But it was trying something new which you could respect. Now, it feels dead in the water. There's so much more we want to explore. There's so much written down that we want to see. A lot of the fans now just hold on to what's been and trying to forget everything that's coming out, which is just sad. There's nothing to be excited about nowadays because it's just disappointment. But is Star Wars finished? For now, quite possibly. But there is a chance. The worst thing about this film is there was no hype. No one cared about it. And that's simply because excitement has been killed. People expect mediocrity now. And you can't get excited about mediocrity unless it's a new Benny Pie video. Then mediocrity is fine. Next year, we've got the Sean Levy film coming out, Starfighter, with Ryan Gosling in it. That could be good. That could be fun. I'm hoping it injects a bit of life into the universe, a bit less bland. But you already know what's going to happen in that film. Ryan Gosling's going to be one of the best pilots to ever exist. And then he's going to crash land on this water planet with this kid. And it's going to be a mentorship between them two, where he realizes he's not a maverick. He actually cares about this kid, and then he takes him under his wing, quite literally. And it becomes a kind of parental story, akin to The Last of Us, or Logan, or Up, or Logan Paul with that one kid in the Hero music video. I feel like the Disney Plus experiment has failed with both Star Wars and Marvel. Feels like serialized content now, not big blockbuster events that gets people going to the cinema. That Star Wars Eclipse game looks pretty cool if it ever actually comes out, which I'm not holding my breath for. More Shadow Lord is good and all, but when are we gonna get new Star Wars? That's my problem. There's nothing new. It's all the same old, just reskinned. Let me know what you think about the state of Star Wars at the moment in the comments. Let's get a discussion going down there. Probably not gonna be toxic at all. But yeah, that's it guys. Thanks for watching. Wakanda forever or some shit.